This is why we love boxing, man. This is why we love boxing. Fight of the year already, or maybe the fight of a lifetime. What was that we just witnessed? First of all, shout out to Chris Eubank Sr. He showed up, y'all. He showed up. I did videos on why he should show up. I think he knew in his heart of hearts that, I don't want to miss this because once it's done, it's done. Chris Eubank Sr. shows up at the arrival. Wow. Wow moment. And I know that made all the difference in this fight for Chris Eubank Jr. because some of the punches he took, probably just his dad being there is what kept him up, because you got the sense, first of all, Conor Benn comes out to a reggae song, Dangerous, and he was very dangerous in this fight. Chris Eubank Jr. comes out to Still DRE with an orchestra playing it too. Dude, you can't lose when you got your dad and you got DRE and an orchestra. You can't lose. You can't lose after that. My first video I did on YouTube, besides the intro, I had Still DRE instrumental. But anyway, he came to the ring. He was looking hard. Conor had on the hood. Conor Benn has nothing to be ashamed about. The dude, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. The way he was taking punches and so energetic, I was like, is this dude back on the eggs? Because I was like, I've seen him fall from dudes that were a lot smaller in a different weight class, but he's taking punches from a bigger man and just eating them up. He only looked really hurt, and maybe that was fatigue in the last round, because he stunned Chris Eubank Jr. in like the third round, and I don't think he knew how bad he hurt Chris Eubank Jr. He might have been able to finish him had he known how bad he hurt him. He could have just gone in and, he was throwing a lot of haymakers, but he seemed to be the fresher out of the two because he wasn't weight drained. He was throwing the harder punches, but it's just that Chris Eubank Jr. was landing more. And at the end of the fight, they were playing some Rocky IV music, and that was very appropriate because it was like the fight between Ivan Drago and Rocky Balboa. Man, and not since Victor Drago versus Donnie Creed have we seen two sons fight for their dads. But anyway, man, what a fight, man. The crowd was on its feet. And had this fight been in Saudi Arabia, I know it wouldn't have been so loud and boisterous, but people were just, at the end, though, I thought it was strange how it looked like, now I could be wrong, but it looked like Chris Eubank Sr. went over to thank Conor Benn or congratulate or, tell him he did a good job before he went to his son. I'd have gone to my son first, but I think Nigel Benn and Sr. were trying to show respect, and they hugged it out. Looked like Chris Eubank Sr. and Conor Benn had a nice long talk. Conor Benn looked really dejected at one point. In fact, he just embraced his dad, and, nothing to be ashamed about at all. He's fighting a bigger man. He was looking the fresher of the two. Landed some hard shots on Chris Eubank Jr., man. You could see that it was hard for him to get down to 160. He was finding all that. Eddie Hearn and them and Chris Eubank Sr. were picking Conor Benn to win in the fourth. That didn't happen at all. Didn't happen at all, man. In fact, none of us thought this fight would go the distance. I picked Chris Eubank Jr., though. That's why y'all need to subscribe, become members, and all that stuff. Because I know what I'm talking about. You subscribe to these channels with, 400,000, 500,000 subscribers. You subscribe to these platforms, and they don't even get their picks right. Subscribe here. I know what I'm talking about. I ain't got the flashy lights and drones flying behind me and all that, but I know boxing, especially heavyweight boxing. But this wasn't even heavyweight, and I got it right. I know what I'm talking about. But, man, what a fight. Both guys had to dig deep is an understatement, man. They were Jacques Cousteau. They went deep, man. Deep. Man, 12th round, just still throwing punches. And the referee, though, man, this dude was warning Chris Eubank Jr. seemed like every other minute. And, Chris Eubank Jr. is trying to say, like, he's hitting me with elbows. I think that's what a lot of the puffiness was. And Conor Benn was like doing this up against Chris Eubank Jr.'s face and his neck. Not one warning for that. So I thought that was odd, but you know, I guess you can't have everything. We got a great fight, so the refereeing was a bit suspect. Don't want to see that ref again. He kept breaking the action. In fact, he got booed at some point. But this is why we love boxing. In fact, I got teary-eyed before the fight, during the fight. Boxing's just in my DNA, man. It's just in my DNA. No sport like boxing. Not MMA, not UFC, not kickboxing. Nothing is like boxing, man. It's just something about two guys in the ring throwing punches, showing heart, showing character. Who you really are comes out on fight night. If you're a coward, it's going to show. If you're brave, it's going to show. If you're weak, strong, it's going to show. And both of these guys have nothing to be ashamed about at all. It was a unanimous decision, I believe, 116 to 112 on all the cards. And I hear there's a rematch clause, and I guarantee if there was 67,000 people in attendance tonight, there will be at least 80 for the next one, and I will see it. Hopefully I can be there for that. What a fight. What a fight, man. What a fight. Chris Eubank Jr. wins, unanimous decision. Conor Benn, there's nobody hit the canvas except for when he rolled over from push, or at one point Chris Eubank Jr. lost his legs. He looked the more fatigued guy, but he fought through it. Chris Eubank is just fighting on guts and heart, and Conor Benn was eating them punches, man. And I like Conor Benn's head movement, man. He was real fast and sharp, like Mike Tyson. And hope he passes the test after, because I was like, this dude is eating punches from Chris Eubank Jr. Like he got hit with so many hard uppercuts, and he just kept coming forward. His punches were having more of an effect on Chris Eubank Jr. than the opposite, from what I could see. But wow, that was from the ring walks to the actual fight. What more could you ask for, man? All you other heavyweights and everybody out there, y'all got to step it up after that fight. Y'all have to step it up, because that was what boxing is supposed to be. We didn't need a technical, these dudes were fighting for their dads. It's like you're at a barbecue and, two brothers get into it, or two families, and, the dads are sitting back watching, eating barbecues. Their sons battle it out in the backyard. It was like one of them things. No technique necessarily, just old-fashioned heart and determination. That's what you just witnessed if you saw that fight. Man, you kind of feel sorry for Conor Benn that he didn't get the nod, because you hate to see anybody lose when guys put their heart on the line like that. Like I said, though, he has nothing to be ashamed about. I don't want to see him depressed or down, because he showed up, he did his thing. Whatever he was on before, that's in the past. So, hey, fatal fury that was, but, no fatalities. Thank the Most High. They've got a video game for it, too. I didn't know that. They were in the video game ad, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. But what a fight that was. Yeah, go check out the video I did earlier about that terrible movie, Magazine Dreams. Yeah, it's crazy. Don't watch that. But there's a scene with Michael Hearn, the bodybuilder, told his fanboy, who's played by Jonathan Majors, whose name was Killian, he's like, yeah, I'll be in town. Why don't you meet me backstage? But backstage turned into Brokeback Mountain. Never watched that movie again. Anyway, way off topic. That's what I do, is get off topic. J. Roos Theory. Make sure to comment, share, subscribe. The Cash App is $JRoos33. The Instagram is the J. Roos Theory. Backup platform and WJ. If you want to become a member, hit the join button below. LSR forever, and be fearless. Again, shout out to everybody involved. Nigel Benn, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., and Senior. Chris Eubank Senior, man, he showed up for his son, didn't he? Yeah, I was gonna say LSR forever, be fearless. Yeah, yeah.